Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Brief Nerdity podcast. I am one of your hosts this week. My name is Ryan. Joining me once again is my good friend and co-host Trent.
Hello.
And we probably officially at this point our third co-host, TJ.
Hello. Hello.
TJ's the one who brings all the fresh, good ideas to the podcast. So if it's ever getting stale, you could rely on him.
Rude.
And some of the really stupid ideas too.
Use you.
How you guys doing? Do you have a good week?
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Time is flying by though.
I know. We're almost done with 2017 already.
We are.
Less or 3 months away, ish, a little bit more.
3.5, yeah. Only a quarter of the year left, almost done.
Yeah.
It's close.
It's a very exciting intro to the show.
Yes.
Legos! Who loves Legos? I love Legos. TJ definitely loves Legos. And Trent loves Legos too.
I do.
Legos.
So for our round robin this week, we decided to talk about Legos, but specifically our favorite Lego video game. There are many to choose from. I'm pretty sure I know TJ's already, but that's okay.
I think long-time listeners will probably also know.
Yep, that's true.
We should jump
what did you say, Trent? He's jump into it?
Yeah, he should jump into it.
All right, we'll jump into it, TJ. What's your favorite Lego game?
Okay, well, I said it before, and I'll say it again. I think the best Lego game and one of my favorite games ever is Lego City Undercover. It was a Wii U exclusive for a long time, and then it finally came to other consoles, and they added multiplayer and stuff like that because it was one of the few Lego games that didn't have it. And basically, imagine you're a cop, and it's like Grand Theft Auto, but Lego. But you're a good guy. But you go undercover as bad guys, so you could steal all the cars you want and everything, and it's just really, really fun. And I am a huge fan of the Lego games. They're my guilty pleasure game, but to me, they're not even a guilty pleasure because I think they're great games. I play them all, and that is my absolute favorite, and I cannot recommend it enough.
I still need to play it. It's on my list, but I haven't got around to it yet. I promise I will play it.
Oh, I know. It's had some really good sale prices off and on lately, so...
It also looks really fun.
Yeah, it's good.
I definitely need to play it. So for me, you would think that would be Lego Star Wars, but I think not to say that Lego games age badly, but the more modern-ish of the Lego games have so many more improvements and more polish to them than Lego Star Wars, since Lego Star Wars were the first quote-unquote Lego games. If you want to go back to Lego Island on the PC, that's another story, which I loved, by the way. So I'm probably going to go with Lego Jurassic World because you get to play through all 3 Jurassic Park movies and then Jurassic World. The Jurassic Park is my 3rd favorite movie of all time, with encompassing all Star Wars is number 1, Back to the Future number 2, and then Jurassic Park is number 3. So just the fact I could play through a newer, modern Lego game with one of my favorite movie franchises ever, I dig it.
It's like that's one of those franchises where I would have never thought in a million years that would be a Lego game.
Yeah, right?
It's crazy. And yeah, they pulled it off. And some people are kind of split on how they feel about the voice acting in Lego games, because the earlier Lego games didn't have any. Even Lego Star Wars had no voice acting. It was all just kind of like physical comedy and stuff like that.
Yeah. They had Sims-esque,
Yeah, yep. And they pulled it off. They were still really funny. And I think Lego Lord of the Rings was the first one to actually just pull the dialogue straight from the movies, but then they would still have the comedic stuff going on.
Yeah.
In the background or during the scene and stuff. But Lego Jurassic World or Lego Jurassic Park, whatever you want to call it, yeah, it does that too. And there's a scene in there. I posted it on Facebook a long time ago when the game came out. But the scene in The Lost World, Jurassic Park, where Jeff Goldblum, Dr. Ian Malcolm's daughter, is the gymnast, and she fights off the raptors by doing acrobatics and stuff like that. In Lego form, it is just, you have to look it up.
It's
Just
pretty
look up
amazing.
that scene. It's incredible.
That sounds really funny.
Trent, what about you?
narrowed it down to 2. Lord of the Rings, I thought was actually super fun.
It's great, yeah.
And the Hobbits are hilarious in it. But I think the favorite one to play, and that was also just really super funny, was the Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes. I think is what like the full title.
Yeah.
Super fun, and like the whole open world aspect and flying around as like Superman and like Green Lantern and all those other like Justice League heroes. It was super fun.
Yeah, those are all really good. And I mean, it's just so cool to see games that can bring all of those characters together just in one game. Like, obviously, they're in Lego form, but they give them so much attention to detail that it's just so cool being able to play as everyone in a single game.
Yeah, I just remember it was one of the games that I played through with my ex, and it was really funny because he was always Batman, because he's his favorite DC hero, and he'd be like running along the ground, and I was Superman and would like fly down and like zoom past and be like, "I'm gonna go get the objective. You wait here," and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for them to make another Lego Batman game with Will Arnett Batman.
Meh.
Oh, well, they did it with Lego Dimensions. That was one of like the movie or like story packs that they released. You could play through that, and it was good. Like it wasn't really something after I beat it. I wasn't really feeling the desire to go back and like get all the extra stuff right away. But yeah, I mean they did a pretty good job with it. But it would be nice to have a full blown, Lego Batman game, just all original with those characters. That'd be great.
Yeah. Same thing with the Superman and the was it Green Arrow? Was it not Green Arrow? Green Lantern, who was with Superman in the movie?
Yeah,
that's right.
That's Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, yep.
Yep.
Hey, Batman, we're totally not having a party.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, yeah, there's Lego Batman 3 that I didn't even know about. Look at that.
Surprise!
Yeah. And Lego Batman, the movie, is still, I think, my it's in the lead for my favorite movie of the year so far. Yep, I loved it.
What?
To me, just as like a Lego fan and a Batman fan, that is like a dream come true. Like every second of that movie is just something I didn't even know I always wanted, and I just feel like they nailed it. I'm not saying that everyone else should think it's the best movie of the year, or everyone else should love it as much as me, but I feel like that movie was made specifically for me.
You totally are. That's how these things work. And like, I must argue with you now.
It's true.
I don't even know what I would pick as my best movie of the year. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't know what movie I would pick.
I'm still looking at Guardians 2 for me.
That's probably what it is. I'd have to look at the list of movies. I realize that like when I look into the past of like recent pop culture, it really I have a hard time judging when things came out for some reason. Like
I'm not usually narrow it down to a year, but not like month.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 feels like a long time ago for some reason, and then other movies that are further away don't seem that. I don't know, it's weird.
What I've been doing for the past couple of years, I keep a list of whenever I see a new movie, like I have every month, and I list the movie and then I rate it like 1 to 5 stars. And it is kind of neat, like later in the year, going back and going like, oh yeah, that was the first movie I watched this year, and then I can kind of place like what was going on at the time, because I've said before my memory's terrible, but when I have stuff to kind of like reference, so it's neat. So that's how I've been like keeping track of all the movies, and then I'll say like what my favorite movie of that month was, so then at the end of the year I can pick my absolute favorite.
Nice. See, I started that at the beginning of the year and then I just totally forgot.
Yeah, I just do it on my phone, so then I've just grown accustomed to after I watch a movie, and I only do movies that I watch from start to finish. I'll even put movies in there that I've seen before, but I just point out the ones that I've seen for the first time, and now it's just become a force of habit.
Nice, I should start doing that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I do that with video games I beat too. I always write down the video games that I finished. So
I do that too, and then at the end of the year I have my awards that I give out. Just on Facebook.
Yep.
Kind of here too, I guess I did last year, but
yeah.
Let's see. I kept track of Logan, Hidden Figures, which came out last year, but I saw it this year.
Yeah, that's okay.
Underworld, Blood Wars, Lego Batman, and Power Rangers, and then I stopped.
You haven't seen anything since Power Rangers.
Like February, March.
March, yeah.
Yeah. So Logan and Guardians of the Galaxy are competing, I think, for me so far.
Yeah, they're up there for me.
It came dangerously close to the top.
It is definitely up there for me. And we will talk about that in a little bit.
Yep.
Woo.
Before we get to that, Trent, what you playing?
I'm playing a ton of Ark. I have literally not touched anything else this week. I am going through an entire base revamp and breeding all of the dinos and catching dinos and preparing for boss fights, and it's just super fun. And we got a few new people join our server this week, so it's been exciting helping them get started. And so I feel bad because I haven't touched Mario since last Monday, and I downloaded the expansion for XCOM 2, and I haven't played it. And of course now there's a Green Man Gaming sale for $10 off. Sure, I should have waited, but oh well.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, Mario and Rabbids, like I'm still not done with it. But that game is really easy to jump back into. Like just play a couple battles and stuff. So yeah, you'll have no problem getting back into it.
Yeah, I'm not worried too much about jumping back in. I'm just so completely just lost myself in Ark this last week. Oh, part of it because I got my new NVIDIA 1070 card, which is beautiful.
Woo!
And plugged that in Friday, I think, is when it came in. And so literally, so I can run Ark on the highest settings, and it's beautiful, and I'm happy, and it's so pretty. And Ragnarok itself is such a beautiful map that I'm just like flying around. I'm like, oh my god, it looks so much better.
Always a good feeling.
Yeah, the installation was a breeze. It was wonderful. I'm super happy. So yeah, that's what I'm playing.
Nice.
Fun.
What about you, TJ?
Yeah, so like I was just saying, Mario and Rabbids, I jump into a couple battles here and there. I really like the leveling up system in that. It seems very rewarding because you don't level up very quickly. And then, when you save your points to get like the better skills and stuff, you feel like you accomplished something. But yeah, I still love that game. Still having a great time with it. Played a little more of that Everybody's Golf that I talked about before, that kind of like open course golf game, like where you can play online. Yeah. I played with a few of my brother-in-laws the other night, online for the first time. The online, like getting a game, it's hard to really get like a private match, and you kind of have to say like, okay, I'm jumping into this room. As soon as I join it, like try and join me before it fills up. That's like the only way to really get to play in the open world setting. But yeah, once you do, it's cool. Just running around, running up to like the different holes, and just, there's hidden stuff on the course that you can go run around and find. You get golf carts that you can drive around and stuff. It's really neat. I think it's going to be one of this year's hidden gems. But yeah, and then like we were talking about Lego games earlier, I got that Lego Worlds I talked about before. It's kind of like that open world Minecraft slash, what's that game? That PS4 game that we talked about.
Little Big Planet?
No, not Little Big Planet. The whole open world, like procedurally generated. Why can't I think of it?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. There you go.
Oh, No Man's Sky.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So kind of like that, but
I don't know why I said
yeah. So I played more of that. It's really fun. It is just so cool, just being able to go around any Lego pieces you see, you can add to your collection, and then you have like an unlimited amount of those. The controls are a little weird. It might be a little easier on PC with like a mouse and keyboard, but once you get the hang of it, it's just so crazy knowing that you could, if you wanted to spend the time, you can build anything you wanted, like existing Lego sets. You can get out the directions to Lego sets and then just build them in the game.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. I like how they don't limit you. Like, it's not like, oh, I got to go find, 20 of these 6-peg pieces, before I can build this. Like, once you find that piece and unlock it, you have unlimited. So it's really cool.
So
and then
one other. Sorry.
Oh, no, go on.
I played it when it was in its like, I don't know if they called it like a beta or like early access or whatever it was, but it was brand new. And so basically all you could do is just kind of explore and just mess around with stuff in the game. Finding a dragon was cool. Have they added a bunch of like directed content, or is it still mostly do like kind of like a playground type thing?
I would say majority of it is a playground, but there are missions. Like you find other like Lego minifigures, and if you do the missions for them, then you can unlock that character, which then you can, use their pieces and stuff like that, or they'll give you new items like weapons, all that stuff. So yeah, there is like an actual adventure mode. And the cool thing is, I haven't really messed around with it too much yet, but like you can take a world and you can make that world your own. You can build it however you want. But then when you find other characters and animals, you can put them in that world. So you can make it like an inhabited planet of whatever you want, like whatever you found.
That's
So
cool.
it's really, really neat. So like it gives you like a goal to keep going and keep unlocking this stuff, because the more stuff you get, the more freedom you have. It's pretty neat.
That's really good. I might have to re-download it then, because when I first played it, there wasn't really anything like that, and so
Yeah.
like I looked around for a couple hours, like, oh, this was cool. Then I, uninstalled it.
Yeah. And it's cheap too. I think like the retail price is $30, but that's on Switch. It just came out. I think on PC you could probably get it for like $15. So
I was just looking up Lego City Undercover, which is still $40, but Lego Worlds is $30. I'm assuming you can find on Steam anyway. I'm sure you can find a deal somewhere.
yeah, it goes on sale.
Nice.
But yeah, one last game I wanted to talk about, Neurovoider. I think it's been out. I think it's on PC, but I know it was on PS4 before. It just came to Switch this week. It's one of those roguelike overhead dual stick shooters. It looks very similar to that game Enter the Gungeon that I've talked about before.
Yeah.
One of my like favorite games ever. So interesting story. I went on Twitter and one of the guys from IGN, Damon Hatfield. I've noticed that him and I like have really similar interests in games.
Mhm.
So I usually go to him, like, I'll throw him a tweet every once in a while, just asking what he thinks of this. But I know he loves Enter the Gungeon. So I tweeted to him and I just said, hey, like, I know you love Enter the Gungeon. Did you play this? Is it similar? How good is it? And I didn't like hashtag anything. I didn't even like tag the game in there. And like a day later, the developer of the game saw that somehow, and he replied to me directly and said, hey, I think I can give you more information. And he just tweeted me like the difference between Enter the Gungeon and this. And he didn't bash Enter the Gungeon. He actually like praised it, and he said, oh, Enter the Gungeon is more like this. This is more like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was really neat.
cool.
So then I'm like, well, how can I not buy the game now? Like I was interested in it before, but when the developer reaches out to you directly to answer a question that you didn't even point towards him, it's like, well, I have to support it now. And yeah, I put like a couple hours into it so far, and I'm really enjoying it. But that's one of the things I just love about Twitter compared to other social media. It's so easy to just connect to, complete strangers, even if it's just a one-time thing. But it's like now I, had not really a discussion, but I connected with that developer, for this. Like it was that simple. So I just thought that was kind of neat.
It was really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Twitter for that reason too. Like I've had, not like long discussions, but like one or two little interactions with some of my favorite like reality stars and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just cool that you can reach out and talk to people that you would never meet any other way.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have fun stuff like the Wendy's McNuggets guy.
Yeah.
He's my hero.
I'm so happy that he accomplished that.
I know, right?
The other people I've gotten responses back on Twitter from were the Mass Effect developers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Casey Hudson retweeted your trailer.
Mike Gamble did,
Oh, Mike Gamble, right?
but
Okay.
but I have been replied back to by Casey Hudson before too.
I get those two mixed up.
That's okay.
And for those of you listening that don't know about the Wendy's chicken nugget guy, just look it up. Just Google like Wendy's Nuggets Twitter, and I'm sure you'll find the story. It's pretty awesome.
It seems funny to me that because he got so many retweets, and yet it's still, like, you think about it, it is like 1% of the United States population, right? Like, was it like 3 million or something like that?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact
Yeah.
numbers.
That's funny.
And then they gave it to him. So yeah, look that story up. It's a good one.
All right. Well, for me this week, I finished off Mario+Rabbids.
Yes, you did.
I absolutely adored the entire game. And it turns out for that wall I ran into, it wasn't too bad. I literally beat it the very next time because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do my normal strategy. I'm going to do it this way. And then I ended up like beating it and getting it perfect on it that time around. So,
Oh,
Nice.
good.
and the only other stage I didn't get a perfect on was actually the final boss stage. which made me mad because I kept everybody alive, but the turn count was ridiculously low. I was like, whoa, really? Like, because I barely kept everyone alive and barely managed to defeat the final boss. Like everyone was like in the teens or lower in health. Like I barely scratched out. And yeah, but then when it's like, I think I had like 14 turns out of like 6 or something like that. I was like, what? You crazy game. But
well, I noticed in that game too, like I beat the first world and I was like, I'm going to go back and find all the hidden stuff and do all the challenges that unlocked. And some of the challenges were really easy, and there were others, like there's one I still don't know how to do it. So I'm assuming that I need a specific character to go back and beat it. So I was kind of looking online just to see what people were saying, and I guess those challenges aren't really meant to be played that early. They're kind of meant to be played after you like get towards the end of the game.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got as well. And I plan to go back through and do all the challenges now, especially now that I know all the moves, so I could actually like solve all the puzzles.
Yeah.
Without walking through every world, 4 times as I learn a new move or two.
So what do you guys think about that kind of stuff? Like content that you have access, because I was complaining last week about like a puzzle that they wouldn't even let you do, but then here's something where it's like you can do it, but you're not really meant to for another like 10 hours, so why don't you just move on? But they don't tell you that. You're just supposed to figure it out.
It's a little annoying.
Well, see, I don't know. I'm just guessing that's how it is, because there's 10 challenges that open up in each world, like after you beat it, and then you have to go like find them. But I mean, if you just walk through the level, you'll find them. But there was just one, like I was scratching my head. I had to get one of my characters to a spot on the map in one turn. So I had to move all 3 guys and get one of them to the other side, the specific spot, in one turn. And I'm like, I know you can jump off their heads and everything, but I'm like, I can't make it that far. Like, I don't understand how you're even supposed to do this. So I don't know if I just missed something or if there's another character you get later on that has an ability that then makes that really easy. I don't know.
Well, for that one in particular, I don't know if that's what you need to do, but I do know that a lot of them will basically require you to reset your leveling, which you could do for free at any time, and basically level everyone up to have the highest movement speed, the highest jump off of other people distance, as well as Luigi's ability that increases everybody's move distance. Get enough points where you can dump all your points to max all those things out, and then be able to get through the challenge.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But I am really pleased to hear about like that there isn't just one strategy that will always work. Like the idea that you had to change your strategy up, that makes me feel good about it.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite things about XCOM is that it forces you to adapt to the objective rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool, especially for a game that like it seems so simple, but it has a lot of good hidden layers, which I like a lot.
Yeah, it really does. And like when we talked about it a little last week, just the combos that you can come up with and build up, they're so satisfying when you pull them off. It's just, there's so much depth to that game. And you're right, it seems so simple, but it's really not.
Nice.
For me, it really just nailed it, I would say. Like difficulty-wise, it was perfect. It was never too hard where I would get frustrated, but it was challenging enough the entire time where I'd really just sit there and think for like 5 minutes. Like sometimes my girlfriend Maggie would be watching me and I'd just be like sitting there for 5 minutes looking around, scanning people, kind of seeing who can move where, and she's like, you gonna move? You gonna do something? Yeah. I was like, I'm thinking. And so it was really, really, really good. And TJ was actually making fun of me for beating it like within a week. And he's like, man, why don't you just like Redbox games, you go through them so fast? And
I was not making fun of you.
He was just questioning your economic decisions.
That's okay. I make terrible economic decisions. But no, like, I don't know. I feel like a game like that good for me is really, really, really rare. Because a lot of times I'll play a game where I'm like, this is a really good game, but I'll play it for a couple hours and I'll be like, okay, I need a break or I need to be done or just do something else, step away from it for a little while. But that game, it just grabbed me and I didn't want to stop playing it. And anytime I wasn't playing it, I couldn't wait until I was back playing it again. And it just so happened that we were on a 3-day weekend, over that time. And so Trent could attest that that's pretty much all I did all weekend long. I left the house once with Trent to go to Best Buy to look at his video card, but I didn't leave the house. I ate at home and I played Rabbids. So It was really, really good. It's a game of the year contender for me already. We'll see how Mario Odyssey pulls through.
I'm pretty sure Mario is going to be my game of the year. Mario Odyssey.
I'm still just cautiously optimistic about it.
I mean, just the tiny little bit I've seen looks just crazy fun.
Yeah, I'm just worried about what happened with Zelda for me. Zelda, I still love it. It's still a great game. It's still a game of the year contender for me, still, even with my opinion of it. But I'm like, okay, it's good. It's a really different Mario than we've ever had before for a long time, and so
yeah. But I think the change up of the formula of Zelda from Breath of the Wild compared to the others is a lot bigger than what we've seen with this. I mean, I know like there's the whole hat mechanic where you can turn in all this other stuff, but the main goal still is pretty much the same, where you're going to these different worlds and then finding these moons, instead of stars, and then, figuring out like, okay, where are these? How am I going to find these? And they give you the, hints and stuff kind of pointing you in the right direction.
And 100%. And I would even still say it's the game I'm looking forward to the most this fall still. I'm just trying to gauge my hype so I'm not let down.
Fair enough.
Mass Effect hurt me. So
that just hurt me.
I'm more than happy to have a super pleasant surprise like Mario+Rabbids, who we were making fun of it, I believe, before we saw the official reveal at E3. The reveal at E3, we're like, oh, that looks really kind of neat, and then it comes out, and then I was just like, holy crap, that was a really good game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, like I said, I'm just keeping myself cautious, so hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised by Mario Odyssey as well. Not really pleasantly surprised, that's the wrong word I'm looking for, but it will surprise and delight me. There we go.
Well, there's a pattern that Nintendo has had this year with a lot of their games that I really hope they continue to have, where they debut a game not that long before it comes out. Mario Odyssey was shown for the first time at E3 this year. It was like the big game that they had. And look at that, it's coming out at the end of October. Metroid, they showed that off at E3. That comes out this week. And Rabbids, that came out of nowhere, and then it came out a few months later. It leaked a little early, but when they showed it off, they're like, oh yeah, and it's out in 2 months. It's awesome, because then you have time to build that hype, but then you don't have time for that hype to die. So you're not waiting and waiting and waiting. So I hope they and other companies start doing more of that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Cuphead. It's been so long since I first shown that, and I was so excited for it, and I'm still probably going to get it, but I'm just so sick of hearing about it. I just want to play it kind of now.
Yeah.
But the hype has definitely died for Cuphead for me.
Yeah.
But anywho, getting back to it, and it's funny you should mention, Trent, that you said sometimes you have really bad gauge as to when stuff came out. Once I was done with Mario+Rabbids, at least the main story, before I go back and do some of the challenges, I really wanted to get back into Link Between Worlds because I kind of paused my playthrough when Mario+Rabbids came out, and I played through probably 60% of that game in this past weekend. So good gaming weekends lately, but again, a masterpiece in gaming, and pretty much the pinnacle of what good Zelda can be, or at least at the top. But it's funny, at the very end of the credits, it gave the copyright date. It said copyright 2013. I was like, holy crap! I thought this was an uber new Zelda game, but it's already over 4 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy to think I've moved twice since that game came out.
Yeah, came out the same year as Wind Waker HD, a pretty much early Wii U title.
Yeah.
I think I've moved 3 times since that game came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, in my mind it was last year or something, crazy close, but nope, not the same. But yeah, so Link Between Worlds is great. Then played a couple more levels of Sonic Mania. Pretty much same opinion on it as last week, maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Good. As I'm taking your advice to heart, TJ.
Okay, good.
All right, TJ, do you want to talk a little It?
Yeah, so I know, Trent, I know you did not see it, and I know you don't plan on seeing it. So, but I know, Ryan, you saw it, and right off the bat, I could say, I absolutely loved it, and I know you feel the same way.
Really loved it.
It was awesome. Like, I don't think we won't get into spoilers for anyone listening that hasn't seen it yet. It just came out, a few days ago. But I mean, if you're on the fence at all, like, go and see it. I know
the bad guy's a clown, right?
What's that?
Did I just ruin the movie? Sorry.
No.
The bad guy's a clown.
Well, technically you're wrong, so maybe I just ruined the movie.
Oh, spoiler. It's really funny. I have another reason for not wanting to go see it. My friend saw it the other day, and there were like 6 people dressed up as clowns in the theater, and I'm like, nope, all kinds of nope. This is not.
It's funny to say that. There was a sign when I went in, a big sign, just like kind of posted out. It's like, no costume, no face paint allowed for like it was something like, we encourage costume and dressing for our movies, but not this one. Basically, is what it said.
Yeah.
Well, good for that. Maybe I'll go see it in that theater.
Yeah,
like a 5% chance. Who knows? Sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. I mean, I know you don't like scary movies, and I mean, I feel like I'm pretty desensitized when it comes to scary movies. Like, I kind of wish I was afraid of movies like I used to be when I was younger, because I think that's like fun. But I don't know the last movie that really, really scared me. Like, walked out of it thinking about it like, oh my gosh, that was terrifying. But this movie, some of the parts are so crazy. Like, this is probably the most I've ever turned to my wife and the other people I was in the theater with, like, after these parts, and just looked at them like, oh my God, what did I just see? Like, I can't believe they did that or showed that. I don't think they ever take it too far to the point where they're just doing it for shock value, but there's just some very memorable, scary scenes in that. But
very
then
creative,
very creative. And because it, like, for a lot of people that don't know, everyone relates it to the clown Pennywise, but that's not really his actual form. He's a being, like, not even from this world. And I mean, we're not going to get into all of it. And the movie doesn't really get into it. You don't really need to know that, but it takes the form of many things. It takes whatever you're afraid of, and it turns into that. So a lot of the movie, like, I mean, it is in it, enough, but there's a lot of times where he's taking other completely different forms in it. So these kids are all experiencing, when they're by themselves, experiencing what they're the most afraid of. And it's just like Ryan said, they just go crazy with it at times. And
that's interesting, because like from the previews, I totally would have imagined that, like, I knew there was something supernatural going on, but I figured like it's the clown to lure them in. But I mean, is the clown what they're terrified of?
Well, one of the characters, that's his biggest fear, is clowns, and that's different from like the old movie and the book. But Pennywise, he takes the form of Pennywise to lure kids in, because basically he feeds off humans, and they taste better when they're scared. Like, the more scared they are, it just gives off like a certain taste. So that's why he goes after kids, because they're easier to scare, and that's why he normally takes the form of a clown, because, like you said, it lures them in.
Yeah, he could be friendly and be like, "Oh, do you want a balloon or something?" And then they're like, "Yeah." Then he goes, and they're like, "Ah!" And then he eats them.
Yeah, the opening scene, like the famous scene that everyone knows, regardless of whether you've seen it or not, is Georgie chasing after his paper boat and then it going in the sewer, and that's where you first see it. The way they did it in this, especially compared to the old movie, it's just like, oh my gosh.
My jaw dropped. Yeah. Like, legitimately, like, I was like, wow.
You see it and you go, okay, so this is how the movie's going to be.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you should mention that, like, everyone knows the scene, TJ, but I think one of the reasons I was able to enjoy the movie as much as I did, not saying I enjoyed it more than you or less than you, but for me anyways, is that I had seen it, like, when I was a kid, like 25 years ago, maybe a little bit less than that. I was single digits. I know that based on where I was living at the time when I saw it, but I haven't seen it since then, or haven't really kept up with it in pop culture and everything. And so, like, when I say I remember bits and pieces is giving it a lot of credit, but I almost remembered like nothing.
Oh, okay.
And so when I went in, I went in with like a fresh, like, this is a new story for me, basically.
Oh, well,
and
yeah,
so,
that's cool, actually.
Yeah, it made me, it caused me to thoroughly enjoy it for that reason. And so when that scene with Georgie happened, like, part of my jaw drop was not expecting it either. So it was not expecting it, and then what they did with it, I was just like, wow. Okay.
And, yeah, and that's the thing, like the old movie, because we actually have, we're doing something new on the show today where on social media we reached out and people got to, we asked for like questions or topics that people wanted to hear about. And my cousin reached out, Christine Sellen, and she wanted us to talk about Tim Curry's portrayal of Pennywise in the old one versus Bill Skarsgård in the new one. The best example, and I know you said that you don't really remember, and Trent, did you ever see the old one, or like, are you familiar with it at all? Like, have you seen like clips and stuff?
I mean, I've seen the comparison and clips that have come out and leading up to this one, but that's about it.
Okay.
Kind of ditto for me. Like, I saw it Friday night, and so like probably the first few hours after I woke up on Saturday was me like watching clips from the original, watching little comparison videos.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like
so
that.
Is it a remake or is it like a sequel or?
It's a remake. The original was a made-for-TV movie. It was a mini-series, but it was basically 2 parts, so the whole thing's about 3 hours. But it was on like regular cable, so it was pretty creepy at the time because I remember watching it as a kid, and like everyone was tuning into this because it wasn't very often that an original horror movie would debut on TV, like regular cable. So tons of families and stuff watched it and everything, and it was just like, okay, we've never seen anything like this on TV before. Yeah.
Think of it like Charlie and Chocolate Factory. There was a book first, and then a long time ago they adapted the book into a movie or film of some kind, and then now someone else is readapting the book for a modern take.
Yeah. So the book,
like I knew it was a book first.
Yeah, the book was written in the 80s. It's the longest horror novel ever written, like to this day. It's like 1,400 something pages. But that was in the 80s, and then the movie came out in the early 90s, and then this is a reimagining of the book. It follows the book a little closer than the original movie does, but the biggest difference is the time period. In the book and in the original movie, when they're kids, it takes place in the 50s. And then in this one, it takes place in 1989.
Okay.
And they said they made that change because majority of the audience, will relate more to the 80s than they will the 50s. But I think it was a change for the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, because then when they do the modern take on it with part 2, it could be modern times.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is another one planned then.
Yes, there is, and we'll get to that in a second here. But I guess so. Me being very familiar with the original, and that just being an iconic horror character for like all my years growing up, the difference between Tim Curry's portrayal of Pennywise and Bill Skarsgård's is the best comparison I can make is Heath Ledger's Joker to Jack Nicholson's, where Jack Nicholson would be Tim Curry, and then
genius.
It's to the point where I'm not going to say one is better than the other because they're so different. It's two completely different takes on the same character. And like, yeah, I can't think of a better comparison than that. So I love them both. I think they're both great.
Yeah.
But the movie, Trent, like, I still really want you to see it because it's not constant horror and scares. It's really not. And there's so many funny parts in it, and the kids are so good. The dialogues are so well written.
I would say it's more funny than it is scary.
It really is. It really is. It has plenty of scary parts, but it's not like constant jump scares and everything. There's really not that many jump scares in it, to be honest with you.
I was telling someone at work today, it's basically a rated R Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It always drove me nuts when people compared like the trailers to Stranger Things, but after seeing it now, it's like, okay, well, I could see that. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's not ripping off Stranger Things or anything. It's just Stranger Things nailed that vibe, and so did this.
I mean, it's in the 80s. It has one of the same kid actors, but it has the same like good child actors playing good characters that you could get behind, and they feel like real characters, and then they're going after a threat that's larger than they should be going after, so to speak. But
see, you guys told me that Stranger Things wasn't that scary, and you lied to me. So telling me that this isn't that scary, I'm like,
I never said this is that scary. Like, I walked out of it and I was like, I don't know if Trent would be able to do it. But I'd say it is more funny than scary because there's probably 20, 30 minutes of scary, like really scary. Would you say, TJ?
I would say that sounds about right to me. And it's like a
Because
2-hour and 20-minute movie.
they do that on purpose. Like Signs does that too, because like they get you to laugh so that you're like, you know, like you relax again. So that when they scare you, it's good again. Like I'm onto their tricks. I know how this works.
Yeah, that's okay. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
I don't know.
TJ just like touching about how great it was.
Maybe like a Sunday in the afternoon where it's like super bright out when we're done. Maybe.
Well, I guess like I know like we didn't really get into our news topics yet, but I feel like we kind of have to jump into this now. One of our topics is how it is breaking like all sorts of box office records.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I feel like you need to see this because it's record breaking.
It's record breaking.
I mean it had like the highest or the second highest grossing opening weekend for an R-rated movie. It's only behind Deadpool. It has the highest grossing opening for a horror movie, let alone an R-rated horror movie. What are some of the others? Did you guys see that article talking about that?
Yeah, it broke September's record by a huge margin.
Huge. I think it did over 117 million.
Yeah.
Like it's already the fifth highest grossing, I think, R-rated horror movie of all time, and it's only been out for 3 days when they gathered that data.
Huh.
So it's funny because going into this, like people are like, oh, September's a horrible time for movies. Oh, a horror movie before October, that's not really smart. It's probably going to bomb. But this just shows that I think we're beyond the point of movies needing to be released at certain times of the year. I feel like if a movie's marketed well enough and if it gets good enough ratings, people will go see it regardless of when it comes out.
Yeah,
exactly.
I guess thinking about it, I mean, Utah doesn't really have a whole lot of storm drains, so I guess this would be the perfect place to see it.
Yeah. But yeah,
I don't know, maybe. I did, I don't know if this is something you want to segue into at all, but I signed up for Movie Pass this week, so.
Hooray!
Maybe I'll
cool. Yeah, I'm still waiting on my card. And your subscription doesn't start until you activate the card. But yeah, it's been like 2 weeks now. But we all, like, my buddy John ordered it too, and we both got an email saying that due to the high demand, it's going to take like 2 to 3 weeks. So, but I do have some other friends that also got it, and they saw it. My friend saw it as his first movie, and he's like, "Yeah, works fine."
Yep, I used it for the second time for it. So, and Trent, if you do decide to go see it, I'll pay again, like full price outside of Movie Pass. Since you can't use it again for the same movie to go see it again. So,
okay,
that's a big if, but
that's not a yes. It's a maybe. We'll see.
And kind of what TJ alluded to earlier is that they are planning a sequel. It's already
maybe if I get drunk first. I don't know.
There you go. The sequel is already in the works for 2019. Because those of you who aren't familiar with the book, I'm not, but I read about it. The book half takes place when the kids are kids, and then the other half is when they are adults.
Well, interesting enough, it actually jumps back and forth the whole time.
Okay.
Like even the original movie does that too, where it's primarily the kids in the first half and then primarily the adults in the second, but it still jumps around. And this movie, it's just the kids for this whole movie. They didn't even cast the adult actors yet.
And so the next one will be the adults taking center stage, but with flashbacks to when they're kids still.
Yeah, because the whole thing, whenever it comes around and then goes away, it comes back every 27 years. So it's going to come back. They're going to think it's gone. Like, that's not spoiling anything. They think it's gone, and then they're older, and they're like, oh, crap, it's back. So...
And it's mad about what happened in this movie.
Yes, it is. I just cannot wait. I would love to do like a spoiler cast about it one day, but yeah, I think it's still a little too early. And Trent, you have to see it.
So I'll see.
So, anyways, what else have you been watching, TJ?
Not too much TV. But I did watch that movie Little Evil on Netflix. Did you guys see that came out?
I've
No.
heard about
It's a
it.
Netflix exclusive.
lot of people.
Adam Scott stars in it. It's like a horror comedy. Adam Scott is he marries
Parks
this
and Rec,
woman.
right?
Yeah. Adam Scott from Parks and Rec. He's one of those actors that never ages. He looks the exact same. On Boy Meets World as one of the bully students.
Huh.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but he
totally never made
marries
that
this
connection
woman,
before.
and she. Oh yeah. I think his name was Griff. Before Harley, I think he was before Harley. I don't know, but I know there's people listening to this going like, "How are you getting that Boy Meets World information wrong?" But yeah, so he marries this woman, and she has a son, and he's pretty sure the son is the devil. So they just have a lot of fun with that. It's kind of like a spoof of The Omen in a way. The trailer looks like a lot of fun. So I watched it and I really wasn't too crazy about it. It's not a horrible movie, but it's not a waste of time to watch it, but it was kind of disappointing. It wasn't really as funny as I thought it would be. And, the story doesn't really go anywhere interesting. There's no like twists or surprises or anything. So
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah, but for a Netflix original, I mean, it's fine. So.
Nice. I didn't watch. I mean, I watched Orange is the New Black and Leftovers, but only 1 or 2 episodes of each, so nothing really new for me to add.
Okay.
Nice. I have completely given up on Big Brother at this point for the season until I hear something
Wow.
actually different.
I don't blame you.
And I've been catching up on American Ninja Warrior, so I'm all caught up now. There's 2 episodes of the Vegas finals left, which I'm excited about. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess we can say this now. They officially announced Celebrity Big Brother. They've never had that in the United States.
It's been a UK thing for a long time.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, Ryan might actually watch that version of it because I know you don't want to give that show a chance.
Have they announced who's going to be in it yet?
No, they have not announced the cast yet. So I'm sure it's going to be a lot of B actors, but I don't know. Big Brother's really popular. So we'll see. Like that, maybe they'll get some good names, but I feel like that could be a really entertaining season.
Yeah, it all depends on who's in it for me. If it's like Dancing with the Stars, where all the stars are like, no, you're not a star.
What? Rick Perry's not a star? I've been lied to.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
And that's actually this winter, I think. Did you hear that, Trent? Did they say like it's soon?
I would not be surprised because I wondered if they were going to do a BB OTT thing again this year, which they tried last year, but I don't think it did well enough.
Oh, okay.
So I'm wondering if that's what they're trying again for this fall. I'm curious if it's because I don't know. I haven't heard a lot about it yet. I'm sure that some of the podcasts that I listen to will cover it extensively.
Yeah.
But I'm behind on all those because I don't really care about the current season. So
I don't blame you. But all right.
Yeah.
So what else are you watching? Anything else?
Pretty much it. I've got 2 episodes of Teen Wolf to watch again, which I'm pretty excited about. And then I randomly watched a bunch of episodes of Charmed the other day because it popped up on Netflix. I was like, oh yeah, I love that show. So I watched some of my favorite episodes because, I hate actually catching up on stuff. So I'm going to go watch other random things instead.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it.
All right.
Well, TJ, kick us off with our first topic.
Sure. So this one's a little different than what we usually talk about, but I figure it could be interesting. So it is now September. It has been for 11 days. The best part about that is Halloween stuff is starting to show up in stores. Every year they put it out earlier and earlier. I am a complete sucker for Halloween stuff, especially Halloween-related snacks. If you take anything and make it Halloween-related somehow, like I bought Pop-Tarts today that have orange frosting and a jack-o'-lantern face on them. I'm like, I don't normally buy Pop-Tarts, but I'm buying these.
Did you ever? Told you like you're pretty much my favorite person ever.
No, but thank you. Yeah, so Halloween Oreos, which in my opinion, as an Oreo connoisseur, are the absolute best Oreos ever
Really?
made. Yep. The reason being, they're just normal Oreos, but they have orange cream. They don't taste any different. But I swear the cream inside is not as much as double stuff, but it's more than a standard Oreo. It's like the perfect amount of filling. And the
I might have to
cookies,
try this.
the cookies have prints of different like Halloween characters, which means they have to make those Oreos fresh because they're not making those year round.
It's true.
So I'm telling you, get a bag. If you like Oreos, get a bag of Halloween Oreos. You won't be
I will totally get myself a bag of Halloween Oreos this year.
Okay, good.
I don't know why, but I guess in my head I just thought like they were like pumpkin flavored, not like pumpkin pie flavored, but something like that. So I was like, no.
Pumpkin spice Oreos are out. They're at Target now. I haven't had them yet. But no, these are regular flavored Oreos, just an orange cream. That's it.
It will be done, my lord.
Yes. But yeah, so the whole thing that kicked this off was with me like moving into the house and everything. I've actually had to start going to Home Depot. I'm sure as every homeowner knows,
I know, right?
Spend a lot of time at Home Depot, and I still don't really like going there. I'm liking it more and more because now it's like I have actual projects in mind and everything, and obviously they have what you need. But I did not know that Home Depot carries a ton of awesome and huge Halloween decorations.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
They have giant like skeleton dinosaurs for your yard. And their eyes light up and everything, and they're huge. One was like I think like $400 for the T-Rex.
Oh.
But they have a ton of awesome stuff. There's like an old TV, and when you press a button on it, like it starts talking and the static goes on, and then a whole face and hands just like pushes out of the screen. It's great.
That's intense.
It's just so cool that Halloween allows stores and people to have that stuff, and everyone's okay with it. I mean, like, there's one house in a neighboring neighborhood where like they just have a dummy hanging from a noose in their yard. Like, and it's up there for like a month and a half, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at that! That's great! Halloween's coming."
Everybody gets a little crazy around October.
Yeah. I just love it. How do you guys feel about Halloween? Because I absolutely love it, and I'm always very sad when it's over.
I feel like I kind of have to do a little like coming out of the closet sort of type thing here. In that, I know, like. I don't really.
Space, Ryan.
Thank you. I don't dislike Halloween, but I'm painfully indifferent about it. I guess I would say.
Why do you say that? What makes you indifferent?
I'm just not.
Makes it painful.
Yeah, maybe we should start with that.
Wouldn't you like to know? I don't know. Like I go to Comic-Con a lot, and so if I'm ever gonna like do costume stuff, I'll kind of do it then. So I don't really feel like the need to dress up on Halloween.
Okay.
I don't have any kids, so trick-or-treating is kind of out of the question for a grown man like myself to go out and do.
Well, let me ask you
share the
this.
experience with.
How long have you lived in your house?
2 years.
Do you get a lot of trick-or-treaters in your neighborhood?
A decent handful. Maybe like the doorbell rings maybe 15, 20 times or so.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
My old neighborhood's dead.
And I get some candy and get all prepared and do that and stuff like that. But probably the most celebrating of Halloween I do is that I usually have a mini marathon of movies to where I'm like, oh, let's watch a handful of this series of scary movie.
Yeah.
And then also I pick 1 or 2 scary games to play every October.
Oh, that's fun.
Like Outlast 2 came out earlier this year, but I didn't play it because I'm like, it's not October. I can't play it till October. So I'll be playing Outlast 2 next month. So as my scary game, maybe another one, depending on how long Outlast is, and if I feel up to the task of taking on another one afterwards.
Yeah.
But
Outlast is a very stressful game.
Not to mention how busy October is going to be.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's kind of the extent of my Halloween geekdom. But it makes me really happy when I see people like you. And it's funny that when you messaged me that today, if we could talk about this on the podcast, literally like right before I checked my phone and that message was there, the guy in the cubicle next to me, he is in charge of our area of our office building for decorating for Halloween. And he was getting super hyped up and super excited about it and asking me like, oh, what should we do? Should we do something scary or something pop culture related? You know?
Well, you know what that is? That's Halloween magic.
Yeah, it is Halloween magic. So maybe over time you'll turn this Halloween Scrooge into the Halloween Day Scrooge, I guess.
You'll be cooking Halloween gooses for all the neighborhood.
Yep, pretty much.
So what about you, Trent? I know you don't like horror movies, but what's your take on Halloween?
So I'm actually I love Halloween. I'm not like a ostentatious lover of Halloween. Like I mean I've lived in an apartment or rented for a long time, so I've never had a house to decorate. But I mean I always have some kind of like decorations. I used to have like a floating pumpkin that you turn it on and its eyes were red and like it has like fake flame coming out the top, and I would just hang it in like the corner of a room or whatever. Like we were talking about the Oreos and stuff earlier. My favorite thing, like it gives me an excuse to buy like whatever the themed Reese's is of that holiday.
I already bought them. They look like ghosts and they're white chocolate.
I thought no, I can't do white chocolate. I mean, I could. I just don't like it. Like the regular pumpkins.
Yeah, they have the pumpkin ones too. They do.
Yeah, I love the pumpkin ones.
And they have orange Kit Kats too. Those are good.
Nice. So I do that, and then I really enjoy. There's now 3 movies that are part of my annual Halloween tradition, which is funny because I don't really watch a ton of movies in general anymore, like at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I always watch Practical Magic because I think it's a really fun movie, and it's kind of like spooky, and Sandra Bullock is one of my favorite actresses. So I almost always watch that movie. I used to watch it with my sisters all the time.
Cool.
And then 2 recent additions in the past 5 years or so are Hocus Pocus.
Oh, one of the best.
Zombieland.
Oh man,
Zombieland's good.
I watch all 3 of those now pretty much annually, around or on Halloween, and it's just super fun.
Hocus Pocus, one of the perfect examples of a movie that just bombed when it came out, and then now just has this huge cult following.
Huge cult following.
It's so I think I even remember like seeing it when it came out the first time I saw it. I really wasn't that crazy about it, and now it's like one of the best, if not the best, like Halloween themed movies of all time.
Does that still happen? Because like I can think of other movies from around that time that are the same way today. Like Newsies, for example, did not do well at all, but it's now like one of the most super popular like musical movies of that time.
I'm so happy that Newsies was mentioned on this podcast and it wasn't coming from me.
I mean, I guess like obviously for something to become a nostalgic pop culture hit, it has to have lasted a while.
Yeah.
So obviously it can't be anything super recent, but like what's the most recent thing like that you can think of?
Was Elf super successful financially in the box office?
Oh, yeah, you know what? That's a good one. Yeah, I don't think it bombed. I don't think it was a failure, but I feel like the way people talk about that now and like all the Elf related stuff that, like merchandise they release, and like a lot of people have that tradition where they watch Elf like every Christmas. Like I feel like it should have done better than it actually did, even though it didn't bomb.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, Will Ferrell.
I'm indifferent about Elf. I don't hate it. Like I have nothing against it, but that's not one of my traditional Christmas movies.
I am also pretty indifferent about it, but I know people who are overly obsessed with that movie. So.
Yeah,
nice.
They love it.
But yeah, so I love going to Halloween themed parties. Like I love dressing. I don't really dress up so much, but like I'll wear like ironic Halloween shirts or something, like a skeleton or a ghost or something easy but fun,
Yeah.
Kind of like the Halloween equivalent of an ugly sweater party type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool.
I just wear my Shepherd cosplay to our work Halloween party last year.
Hey, all the work you put into that, you got to get as much use out of that as possible. So I don't blame you.
Didn't you win the contest, Turks?
Well, cool. Well, I think as the weeks go on, we'll probably have more Halloween topics. But yeah, I'm very happy to hear that neither of you hate Halloween. That makes me happy.
I don't think it's a strange thing to hate a holiday.
You think that is a strange thing to hate a holiday?
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I guess because
Valentine's Day.
Well, yeah.
Now, anyway, I liked it for 4 years. Guess what 4 years that was?
I'm in a committed relationship and I don't like Valentine's Day. Puts too much pressure on me. Like, I gotta do something big and grand, and I'm so uncreative about everything.
Yeah. But yeah, so no, that's good. I'm sure there's plenty more Halloween stuff we could talk about. So anyone listening, if you like us talking about Halloween, let us know and we'll talk about it more.
All right, well, on to some more news. Depending on who you talk to, this is great news or bad news. But Star Wars Episode 9 has lost its director. Another Star Wars movie dumping its director. Yes, Colin Trevorrow has exited Star Wars Episode 9. Reports are mixed. Lucasfilm said that it was kind of they both decided to part. Yeah, mutual. They both decided to part ways. But kind of rumors were that he was kind of full of himself and making lots of demands, and Kathleen Kennedy did not appreciate that kind of attitude. But who knows?
So it's interesting because for the second time in a row, Lucasfilm is controlling the narrative, and the director once again is not speaking all that much, if at all. And this is the exact same reasoning they gave last time. So part of me is wondering, like, did they really strike out badly twice, or is Kathleen Kennedy being a bit unreasonable?
Yeah.
And maybe not her directly, but like maybe the story group or something, or who's the writer?
Carpachin?
Kasdan?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Lawrence Kasdan?
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of people are saying that maybe he was being a little too unreasonable in both cases, actually, because his, I think, son is writing the Han Solo movie, and he's writing or helping to write the main trilogy. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, because we only have, for some reason, like the Han Solo directors have been completely silent about it. They haven't said a word.
Yeah, I'm sure they can't do it at NDAs.
I mean, you could talk a lot about how you were treated and what you feel about a project without breaking any non-disclosure stuff.
I'm sure Disney has a rock solid and completely water-sealed NDA.
I'm just wondering if they're maybe too afraid of the power that is Disney and that they'll never get a good job again.
Man, that's
true too. I could see it being both of those reasons.
But even though Disney's controlled the message, there's still a lot of quote-unquote leaks, from average Joes working on the sets. And even though you kind of said they were the same thing, I don't really consider it the same, because Word on the Street was for the Han Solo movie is not that they were like jerks or a-holes or anything like that, is that they took too many liberties with the script and were letting a lot of improv and stuff like that into the script when they kind of just want just to stick to the script, please. Well,
see, and I'm glad you said that, because I just read an article, an interview with Taika Waititi, the director of Thor Ragnarok, and it's the complete opposite, where they hired him because of his improv. Like, there's a very tight script that they have, but he's known for just like Chris Hemsworth was saying, like, he would just shout new lines. Like, he would just feed me new lines, or just say, say whatever you think Thor would say here. Yeah. And that's where, like, a lot of the best humor comes from. So, like, they're giving him that freedom with a Marvel movie, a big Marvel movie, but then they're so strict with Star Wars that, you kind of wonder.
Well, and I think that, like, it's two completely different animals. Star Wars is trying to maintain a solid, unified canon amongst every type of media genre. Mm-hmm. There's books, video games, novels, comics. I said books twice, basically. TV shows, movies. Like, it has to be so completely controlled, because they don't want to have what happened last time when a bunch of people just decided to take these crazy random left turns with the Star Wars universe, that it just became completely unmanageable.
And I'm sure they want to have. Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say they really. I'm sure they still at this point want to have each movie have a Star Wars feel to it,
Right.
whereas they're totally okay with having Thor Ragnarok feel completely different than, I don't know, something like Doctor Strange.
Right. Also, Thor needs to reinvent itself because its first 2 entries were not that great.
Yeah.
And Marvel doesn't have anything tying it down. Like they're purposefully, breaking canon from the comics and just, ignoring the TV shows and doing their own thing. So
Yeah. It's funny because Chris Helmsworth said, he's like, I went back and watched Thor: The Dark World. He's like, I don't think it's a bad movie. He's like, but it's really missing like a lot of just fun.
yeah,
He said it's not very fun. So
I would
now
agree with
they're
that.
completely. Oh, I agree too.
And it is. I still like the second one better than the first one because I thought the first one was super boring. Except for, I don't know, there's little parts here and there, but there was. I don't know, it's a whole nother subject.
Plus, his eyebrows were blonde in it.
Yeah.
You ever notice? Did you ever notice that how different he looks? You look it up. Look up Thor. Look up Chris Helmsworth in the first Thor. Just a picture of his face, and then look at him in the second movie. He has like bleached blonde eyebrows in the first one. It's very weird.
That's funny. Yeah. So, there's back to the Star Wars thing. There's been a number of like Ryan said, leaks from some of the crew, but at the same time, the crew is more or less like in-house Lucasfilm employees. Like they don't really they have their crew that does every movie. So I'd be curious to see which of them would be willing to, actually break the party line and say anything against them. But
that's true.
I don't know. It's interesting. I personally, I don't know. Him as a director in general, like he obviously did a great job with Jurassic World. But he did a terrible job with crap. I looked it up earlier. Now I can't remember. It's the one that got like critically lambasted recently.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And so people are like, he's really hit and miss. But then so was the guy who did Rogue One before he did Rogue One. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of weight put on the director when there's a lot of other moving parts. But
there's a lot of people working on it. Like it's not.
Right.
And so many people make it seem like it's all the director. Like if a movie ends up being bad, they blame the director. And yeah, the director has a huge role in the creation of the movie, but he or she is not the only person that's making all these decisions.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny that like especially writers seem to go so underrepresented in the media, both for really great movies and for really bad movies. Like it pretty much always falls on the lead actor and the director.
Yeah. Yep.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, well, like even the director, the movie he did before it was Mama, that horror movie. I was really excited for that because they took a short film that was really creepy and they made it into a whole movie, and the movie ended up being just okay. Like it wasn't really that great. But then, so when they said he was directing this, it was the original director. Like they got rid of him and he wrote a lot of the script and they just kind of tweaked it. But now this new director, I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll see how this is going to be. And then he nailed it. So it's like even directors that do horrible movies can still make a good movie. So that just shows you all the moving parts like you're talking about, all the other people behind the scenes that have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, great directors can make terrible movies. Like look at AI.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Has there been any news or rumors about who's going to end up directing episode 9 now?
Only 2 rumors, and they don't.
Lucas. I saw that one.
Yep. But one is that Ryan Johnson might just be pegged to do the second, or to do his second one and do episode 9. But he himself has come out and said like, no, I don't really think so. I'm looking forward to watching episode 9 as a fan again. But that could just be set up for him playing coy for them to offer him a huge paycheck, especially depending on how well Last Jedi is critically received.
Right.
Do you think they would bring back J.J. Abrams?
Not JJ.
I'd be okay with that personally.
I would be too, but
I think there's a little bit too
ready
much
to be
of
done.
Yeah.
And Ryan Johnson seems like he could do this all day, this kind of thing.
There is an interesting difference in like the energy that they have. I mean, would you rather see someone completely different who isn't involved, or like kind of like a Ron Howard, or would you want to see someone quote unquote in house?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know if I really have a director in mind.
Having not seen Last Jedi yet, I would still probably peg Rian Johnson as my number one pick for 9. Just because A, he seems to be working really, really well with Lucasfilm, and that seems to be a problem right now with directors.
Right.
And B, he could make the tone consistent and continue his own story that he told, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should bring in Patty Jenkins. And I mean, because Rey is the main character, and she did awesome with Wonder Woman, so I think that'd be incredible.
Well, she might be a little busy because she just closed the deal to direct the Wonder Woman sequel.
Oh, segue!
I'm super happy for her. I think she deserves all of it and more.
That
100%
announcement,
deserves it.
I have almost no reaction to it because in my mind it's like, why would they give anyone else? Like,
Right. It's like
she deserves it. Like if they replaced her, I would think they were crazy.
Right. It's like this woman handed you box office gold. Like, never let her go.
And it's funny like that.
Wonder Woman is still doing.
Huh?
It's crazy how well Wonder Woman is still doing. It's now like the number 1 superhero origin film. I think only like Avengers is ahead of it.
And it's still in theaters.
Yeah.
It's still playing. I think it beat out some of like that horrible weekend of movies a couple weeks ago. I think it was still beating out like brand new movies.
Yeah. Yeah, Avengers and Civil War are the only superhero movies that gross more than it right now.
That's
Crazy.
so awesome.
And see, that's another thing. Everyone always talks about how DC can't hold a candle to Marvel, and it's like I don't think it has anything to do with the property or like the people behind the property. It's just the actual property itself. Like it's a Wonder Woman movie, and it's good. If it was panned like Batman v Superman was and stuff, then it would not be doing as well as it is. But it's a good movie, so people are going to see it and continue to see it.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many incredible stories in DC. There's no way that it's because it's DC. They just need to treat it correctly and actually, put in the work to make it good. Like,
Yeah, it's 100% Warner Brothers and their dumb decisions.
Right.
Would you guys be okay with after Justice League? Would you be okay if they were like, you know what, we're just starting over?
Yes.
Yes and no. Like if they kept Wonder Woman,
Because
they rebooted everyone but her. Like because I think she's perfect. So
just make her be the Flashpoint person. She does Flashpoint and changes everything.
Okay, well, let me ask you
Superman,
this.
everything.
So, would you rather have them continue on the path that they've already started and got pretty deep into at this point, like the same tone and everything, and keep her, or would you rather have them just reboot everything? Like, would you take the loss of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman just to fix everything else?
As much as I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I would have to agree with that sentiment. I think there's so many things they're doing wrong with Batman and Superman's universe that they can't hope to fix it. It's just impossible.
I want to see how Justice League does first.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, we know Gal Gadot is good.
Yeah.
And we know that, like, that movie was incredible. Like, they could do a reboot and it would still suck. Like, I mean, it's not guaranteed. So, like, I would be so, like, scared to let go of, like, this perfect storm, of a great actress, great director, great screenwriter coming together. Like, I want at least 2 or 3 more movies from her.
For me, I just look at what they've done so far. They've ruined Lex Luthor for the remainder of the universe. They've ruined the Joker for the rest of the universe. Superman is a dark, brooding jerk face. Batman is
He'll be so much happier now that he's died.
Batman is like the old, like pretty much gonna die soon, retired Batman, like who's been doing this for forever. They even make jokes about how like, oh, our problems used to be exploding penguins, and he has the old Joker suit, with or not the old Joker suit, the old Robin suit with the ha-ha-has written over it. Like, there's all this history of Batman. Like, I want to see this history. I want to see this stuff that happened, but they're just kind of allude to the fact that it happened. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I just think
agree
this
with you.
DC universe is just not in a good place.
I agree with you with all the Superman stuff. I don't think they did a good take on him, his mom, or Lex. I actually didn't mind the kind of old, bitter, grizzled Batman. I thought he was the best part of Batman v Superman.
Even
Yeah,
more
I
than
don't
Wonder
mind
Woman.
that. I don't mind that Batman either, actually.
Well, he's a good Batman, but I think just like
Wonder Woman was like really good, but I don't know.
But
But I
mainly
think what
just-
you're saying, Ryan, are you saying they're kind of digging themselves into a hole with it?
Yeah, and especially with I don't know how familiar you guys you are behind the scenes stuff of the Batman behind the scenes stuff, but like we don't even know if it's gonna be made anymore. Like,
Yeah,
Batfleck might be done after Justice League because
Yeah.
of behind the scenes drama. And then for me, just what they did to the Joker is pain. It hurts me.
Well, let me just say, I mean, people might think I'm crazy, but I really I don't hate Suicide Squad and I don't hate Batman v Superman. Like, I enjoy those movies. I know they could be so much better, but I don't think they're the hot pile of garbage that, most people say they are. But Lex Luthor and the Joker are just awful. Just
Yeah.
awful renditions of those characters, like you're saying. And I feel like without those, I feel like if they had a better Joker and had a better Lex, I don't think people would have hated those movies as much as they do.
And I feel like they're bringing in Darkseid way too early.
Yeah.
With Justice League. Like
They're playing catch up.
It hasn't been earned. Yeah, they're trying to speed run their way through what Marvel's done the last 10 years doing, and it feels
And especially after seeing like Guardians this year, and then especially Spider-Man: Homecoming, just with how much fun that they can have with these superhero characters, it's like that's what the DC movies are missing. Like Wonder Woman had enough of it. I'm not saying they all need to be comedies and everything like that, but Wonder Woman like really did it right. And it just felt right. But yeah, these other ones, it's like they're trying to be like cool, like an edgy.
Yeah.
Without actually being edgy. Like that Joker, it's so bad. All the tattoos and the outfits he wore and the grill. Just terrible. Terrible.
Well, I mean, like, I get what you guys are saying, but I mean, like, I enjoyed a lot about the Christian Bale Batman trilogy, but I don't remember any of it being super funny.
Well, that's the problem with this DC universe. So they tried to take the Dark Knight and turn it into a cinematic universe, and Superman in the form of Dark Knight just doesn't work. You can have a serious solo Batman film, but then when you put Batman with aliens and Wonder Woman, like there needs to be, a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Superman would have worked if they had him be the kind of like positive, like all like believing in humanity person that he's supposed to be. But I don't know.
Yeah, but they made this mistake of trying to make Man of Steel be a Dark Knight Superman version, but then Marvel took off and they're like, oh, well, I guess we need to take this movie and make it our cinematic universe now.
Right.
So, yeah. Anywho, we should probably move on.
At least we have Wonder Woman.
At least we have Wonder Woman. And even if they do have to destroy the universe and start again, no one could ever take that movie away from us.
Nope, that's right. You're right. It is a great standalone movie. It doesn't even need the other movies.
Yep. So on to some video game news. Lots of good video game news this week. Why don't you take this one, TJ?
Sure. So Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo of America.
My body is ready.
My body is Reggie. He said with the SNES Classic comes out later this month. We're only a few weeks away. I can't believe it. He quoted, nobody should pay more than the retail price of $79.99 for an SNES Classic, solely on the fact that they are upping the production numbers versus the NES Classic. I can't believe that at all. Like, no, absolutely not. Do you guys think that they're going to have more to the point where you can walk into a store and see one on the shelf?
Nope. Not at all. Especially, I think, because everyone's in defensive mode already, so everyone is scrambling to get one, even if they might not have bought it, if they might not have purchased it normally, so to speak, but because they're assuming it's this Christmas's hot ticket item, like the NES Classic and Hatchimal was last time, that people are just ready, aim, go the moment they see one, whether or not they would have purchased one anyways.
Yeah, it's just so funny how the fact that he's that bold to even make that statement. Like that's a permanent statement now. So when these come out, if it doesn't do that, he's gonna get so much flack for it.
Yeah,
like, it's gonna be even worse than it would be if he didn't say it.
Go ahead,
Trent.
No, it's okay. Just especially coming off the news and like the event of like all the pre-orders disappearing at 4 o'clock in the morning, like that does not instill confidence in people who are looking to get one.
Exactly. I know very few people that were able to actually get those pre-orders.
Yeah, and I know at least 5 or 6 people that I'm friends with who really, really wanted one and didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So, like,
but they're saying supposedly every store that's going to sell them, they're all going to have stock for like walk-ins. So like if you go, but it's not like a walk-in like, oh, I'll go there today. It came out today. I'll go get one. It's more of like, no, they're going to have them for the people that camp out the night before.
Kind of like the Switch when it first came out.
Yeah.
But you still pretty much can't walk in and find one on a shelf.
No, it is getting better, though. It is getting a lot better.
Close,
I have been to a few stores like in the past few weeks, and I've actually seen them. So
nice.
But yeah, so that comes out the 29th. So we're about about 3 weeks away at this point.
Yeah.
So we will find out soon enough.
Oh,
don't believe it. Nope, not happening.
Well,
I don't believe it either.
Nintendo's given us no reason to believe them on this.
Yeah.
There's literally no evidence that they're going to do any better this time.
Yep, the NES Classic was that way. The Switch was that way. There's still some amiibo I never got that I wanted. So
it seems to be the only thing that
really,
they
which
know how to
ones?
release well is the 3DS. Like
that's because nobody wanted it when it came out.
No, but you know what? But that's not even true. Last year they released like the smaller new 3DS that had the face plates that you could swap out and stuff. They released that in August. It was like a Mario themed one. If you didn't get it the day it came out, that was gone. And then for the holiday they released the black and the white one. And if you didn't get those right away, there was no way to get them.
Yeah.
And now I don't even think you could find that model of that 3DS anymore at all.
Yep, that's true. I stand corrected.
So
me too.
When the 3DS first launched, however.
But in other Nintendo news, really quick, this Wednesday, they just announced today, there's going to be a 45-minute Nintendo Direct. For those of you that don't know, Nintendo Directs are just like pre-recorded videos where they just tell you about all the new games, they announce new stuff, show you more about some of the other games they announced that are coming out. It's always a really good time. They're always a lot of fun. It's on this Wednesday. I forget the exact time. I think 5 o'clock Central. But they said it's going to focus on Switch, 3DS games, and a further look into Mario Odyssey. So I know we talked a little bit about Mario Odyssey earlier, but I was going to ask you guys, do you feel like we need to see any more of Mario Odyssey at this point?
Nope, I don't want to.
I don't feel like anyone isn't sold on that game yet.
Nope. I'm sure somebody somewhere is, but
yeah. So I'm hoping they don't show too much because I like what they've shown so far, and I'm good with what they've shown.
Yeah, I was sold by what I saw at E3. So
yeah, I remember we were talking about that day. We were going nuts. We're like, even the song that they were playing in that, it was awesome. So yeah, so that is Wednesday, a couple days from now. I always like the little surprises like this.
Nice.
So I did mention that Mario Odyssey was my most looked forward to game this fall, but I would have to say my close second would have to be South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
I'm right there with you.
Listeners and you guys know I'm a huge South Park fan, and I've adored it for many years. And The Stick of Truth was one of the best South Park games of all time. And the sequel looks to be just as good, if not better. However, this week there was a stream going on where someone was going through the character tutorial. Many of you may know this, but they added a difficulty slider that isn't just the difficulty, it changes the color of your skin to where easy mode means you're completely white, and if you want to play the game in hard mode, your character is black. So what do you guys think of that?
And they went into a little more detail. So
They did.
Yeah. The crazy thing is it's a slider bar, so you could be really white or really dark. And so like the further you up that bar, the harder the game gets, not necessarily like with the battles, but with like how characters talk to you and how much money your character makes. So they're definitely like trying to make a statement with it, as they always do, you know, in South Park.
That's
Regardless of how
harder.
stupid you think it is, they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're trying to convey to their audience.
Mm-hmm.
But this is very, like, it's just strange because it kind of just, like, they snuck it in there. They didn't really make this, like, a selling point. And now that they're giving people hands-on with the character creator and they're noticing it, now it's becoming this big thing. And I don't... like, I don't even know what to say about it. I'm not against it because I get what they're trying to say. I don't think they're trying to be disrespectful, but I don't know if I'm in a position, being a white male, to really make like a bold statement about it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, we're all white males, so we can't, we can't really talk from a position of knowledge besides having empathy for struggles that people who may not be white males will have, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that we can't acknowledge that, and that's why we're lucky to have Matt Stone and Trey Parker to acknowledge it in a funny, lighthearted way that will pretty much make anyone, at least chuckle, maybe a little bit uncomfortably, but chuckle when they get to that point in the game, regardless.
And I mean, South Park clearly has a history of like a ton of racial related humor. I mean, for all races. I mean, they go after everybody.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing, like Dave Chappelle, like Chappelle's Show, that's like majority of those jokes and like sketches are all about like racial jokes. But that's what made it great, because he went after like everybody. I mean, you have to draw the line somewhere, but I don't know. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen about this, because especially the media, with what they've attacked in video games previous to this that like didn't even hold a candle to something as bold as this. I'm really curious to see. Like, I can't believe that this is even being allowed. I'm not saying I'm against it, but I just can't believe that people okayed it.
Like, allowed by who?
Well, I guess like the publisher.
Ubisoft in this case.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you play through all of Stick of Truth?
Oh yeah.
Like, even though it didn't really get anything political wise, but you know that your jaw dropped when you're just like, I can't believe I'm seeing this right now.
Yeah. Just
because of it's something that they definitely couldn't do in the TV show, nor in a movie. I don't think it was something to get away with because of just the game medium as a whole is a lot more lax on that kind of stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while. I played that game, like I played through it when it came out, but that had where if you made your character Jewish, the dialogue was different and everything, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
the Jew was a class in the game.
That's right. That's right.
So
we'll see.
Either way, I'm very excited for the game, and I'm glad to see that Matt Stone and Trey Parker's taste for satire has not gone down at all.
Has there been a lot of uproar about it, or just a lot of discussion?
This just happened a couple days ago. I don't think it's spread to the point where it really got out there to like gaming media outlets, but I think it will.
It makes me think back to the Fox News segment on Mass Effect.
Oh my gosh!
So like, what they might do with something like this? So
such a tame scene compared to everything that's come since too.
Right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this close to wrapped up. But before we wrap up, like TJ said, we do have some viewer quote unquote mail, mostly in the form of comments on social media. So let's get right into those. So TJ, why don't you take us through them?
Yeah. So let's go through. So like I said before, something new we're trying. We'll try not to fly through them, but I know like the show, it's getting pretty long now, as they usually are when I'm on it. But yeah, so we'll go through and we took all the comments and everything that we got today, so I don't know if we'll be able to get all of them every time going forward. But since it's the first time we're doing it, we're going to take them all and have some fun with it. So our first one, Johnny Aprilli, I think a longtime listener, he wants to know what our favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies are.
So I'm going to cheat with this one and give 2 answers.
I'm probably going
because
to
because the first one's just the boring answer, and that's Terminator 2.
Yep.
It's just one of the best movies ever made, so you can't not pick it. But if we're going for like awesome Schwarzenegger ridiculousness, I might have to go with Total Recall.
Oh, dang it, that was mine.
Just the scene of his head exploding in the outside of Mars. Just I can never hit that out of my head. So that's got to be mine.
Okay. What about you, Trent?
Well, I have to think of a different one.
What were you going to say? Total Recall?
Yeah, I was going to say
okay.
Total Recall.
Well, I mean, that could still be yours, and Ryan didn't take it.
No, I know.
No, I took it.
He claimed
I was waffling between that one and Kindergarten Cop, actually. So
Kindergarten
I
Cop
love
is so
Kindergarten
good.
Cop.
It's so good.
Either that or Last Action Hero, which is a terrible movie, but it is.
Last Action Hero was one of my thoughts too.
I feel like that's one of those movies that was ahead of its time.
Yeah,
100%.
sure.
I think that's another good example, actually. I don't think that movie did very well at the box office, but it has a cult following now.
That's true.
So yeah, I would say with Ryan, Terminator 2, one of my all-time favorites. We've talked about it many times on the show. That's the easy, boring answer. I'm gonna have to go with Jingle All the Way, and I genuinely love that movie, and that's actually going to get into our next viewer topic. I love Jingle All the Way. I think it's hilarious. I know a lot of people write it off as a really dumb kids movie, but I think some of the jokes in that are great. I think Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger are a combo that no one ever asked for, but everyone's happy they got it. And that is one of my regular rotational Christmas movies every year. Absolutely love it.
Oh, nice.
So the next question is, and another movie that I saw the first time I saw it, I was like, this is awful. And then I just grew to love it. So the next question, this is from my wife, Kaylee Harris. I love you if you're listening. I know you do. She wants to know guilty pleasure movies that are terrible, but you love them, and why do you love them? So that was one of mine, Jingle All the Way, but I want to hear what you guys have.
Go for it, Trent.
I was going to say tell you to go for it.
Because I'm so thinking.
Well, I have another one. I'll say this while you guys are thinking. So
do it.
Another movie I genuinely love, and Jingle All the Way, like, I'm not saying that to be funny. Like, I genuinely love it. Just like I genuinely love Good Burger. I love Good Burger so much. I stand by my statement that I think it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I love it. I don't think people give it a chance. Any movie that has a scene where they dunk a live human baby through a basketball hoop is a classic in my book. That's one of the opening scenes of the movie. The baby gets confused with the basketball, and they say, put it up, and you see him throw like a dummy, like a doll, up in the air, but then they do a close-up slow motion shot of an actual baby going through an oversized basketball hoop. I don't know if many movies could get away with that nowadays, but I love Good Burger.
Can do anything.
I love it. And another Sinbad movie, oddly enough. Just realized that.
Well, you have a type. That's okay.
On my another guilty pleasure movie is Kazam. Oh wait, no, that's not.
That's
Shazam.
Shazam.
Oh jeez.
That movie exists. I know it does. You can't stop me from believing it.
Shazam, or what's the movie that they say that people think exists?
Isn't that Shazam, the Sinbad movie that supposedly never existed?
Is it called Shazam? I think it might be. Did you see he actually made a trailer for that movie like not that long ago?
No, but it's amazing.
Just to throw people off even more.
All right, so my favorite guilty pleasure movie. I went ahead and just stayed with the vein of like action movies because it seems like there's a plethora to choose from in that vein. Demolition Man.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Love that movie, and it is terrible in a lot of aspects.
But why do you love it?
But it is so good. I don't know. Like it's just so. like it's so ridiculous, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. So it's just fun.
I haven't seen that movie in a very long
I
time.
love the three seashells joke. I love like the swear jokes. I love the fact that like it kind of almost like launched Arnold Schwarzenegger's political career because it joked about him being president. Like, there's just so many things about that movie that are really great. So yeah.
All right, good choice.
All right, so I'm still struggling a little bit, so I have to ask: do you guys consider Home Alone 2 a bad movie?
No. I think
No.
if you said Home Alone 3,
No, yeah, that's definitely not.
which I do like Home Alone 3.
I actually
don't
like 2 a lot.
Yeah, two is if you watch 1 and 2 back to back, 2 is basically just a remake of the first one.
100%.
It's just the same thing in a different location. It really is.
No.
Okay, Trent, think about it.
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was ready to like argue this. I was actually excited.
TJ is worked up.
All right, well, I'm going to go with The Purge. They're not very good at all, but I still think the concept is supremely interesting, and they've actually gotten better with every iteration so far, so I look forward to them finally nailing the concept in a future sequel. But I still really, really enjoy the first one, even though it's not a good movie at all.
I would have never thought you would say that movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first one's full of stupid people making stupid decisions, and that's the only reason they're in dangerous situations. But and like the sequels get better at that. But I was still like, when the first trailer came out, I was really fascinated with it. But I didn't see it in theaters, and I saw it on video, and I was like, that could have been better. But man, that was an interesting concept. So,
well, you're right. The concept is like extremely interesting. For those of you that don't know, The Purge is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. Basically, it's a world where the government allows for a 24-hour period. Is it 24 hours or 12 hours?
24, yeah.
24 hours where everything is legal, including murder. Yep. So that's how, and they like portray it as a world where people won't commit crimes any other time during the year because they know they can have a field day on this one night. So it sounds kind of stupid, but when you think about it, like if you were to put yourself in that scenario, it's like, what would you do? Like, not saying like, would you go kill people, but how would you keep yourself safe? That's the real question. And I don't even know. Like, I don't know. Like, would you go hide in like a closet somewhere?
Well, in the movie, in the first movie, the main character, his job is home security, to where like you push a button and like metal.
Yeah,
like things go over the windows, and basically just your house turns into a bunker, and that's what he sells, for the Purge Day.
Well, but then you think, what if you don't have the money for that?
Exactly.
Like, what if?
That's part of the commentary that the movies get into. That the Purge is only for the rich people to kill the poor people, basically.
And then you have to think too. Then it becomes a trust issue. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to get together with everyone I know, and we're all just going to keep each other safe." Because it's like, how do you know you can really trust these people?
Yep.
Maybe people that want to kill you, but they don't want to risk it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, but I have a bonus answer because I just thought of it. And it. Do you know about the movie Birdemic?
Yes.
No.
I'll just say that. I love it. It's so terrible. It's one of the worst movies ever made. Kind of like The Room quality, but.
Yeah, I just brought up a list of movies like this, and there's like 3 now that I want to change my answer to, but I can't, so it's fine.
Trent, you need to see Birdemic.
Do I?
We'll watch it with Riff Tracks. We'll watch it with Riff Tracks. You can handle it with Riff Tracks. It's one of the best Riff Tracks experiences ever. So.
Better than Twilight?
Yes.
Because Twilight with Riff Tracks is like life changing.
Yeah, the 3 best Riff Tracks are Twilight, Birdemic, and The Room.
Nice.
So, and you still need to watch The Room so you can go see.
That's true.
The Disaster Artist. Yep. Till December 2nd.
So,
all right. Yeah. So we got a couple more. Next one comes from Jeremy Santafort, my brother-in-law. He wants us to talk about Jimmy Fallon's unnecessary laughing.
People always talk about that, but I don't really care. It's fun. It's not as crazy as like, have you guys seen like Japanese TV shows where they always have like a face in the corner, like showing the audience how they need to react?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No? Okay, well, they do. Like, they literally have like a picture-in-picture with like a random person and showing them like laughing or like being shocked or scared to show the Japanese audience like how they should be reacting. It's almost like a laugh track, so to speak, which is on a whole nother level. I feel Jimmy is just being like very gracious to his hosts and overly laughing at anything slightly funny they have to say, to help lead the audience and to, have them laugh at what the guest is saying and stuff like that. Yeah, the laugh is a little bit annoying, a little bit over the top, but it doesn't bother me that much.
Well, see, then if you think back to him on Saturday Night Live, he was known for laughing in like every skit he was in, like breaking it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Like, part.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I want to say that it's genuine. I've actually heard usually when celebrities are jerks, you hear about it somewhere. Someone who's dealt with them or knows them says like, yeah, they're not great. I've never really heard anyone say or anything bad about Jimmy Fallon. Now, I'm not really crazy about him as a talk show host. I don't think he can interview very well.
No.
But you can't deny that some of the skits and like sketches and stuff that he does on that show like aren't great, and that's where his popularity comes from.
Ditto.
Like, I mean, lip sync battles are largely due to him.
Yeah.
At least in their current form, anyway. I mean, you can also credit like RuPaul's Drag Race, but a lot of the best things I've ever seen from his show are those, and then other, like you said, like random funny skits, or like when they do the song in the voice of stuff.
Oh yeah,
I think it's super funny.
Like I love he did the Reading Rainbow theme song as Jim Morrison from The Doors, and it's just like he nailed it. It's perfect.
Yeah, so those are good. I mean, I have no like false belief that they're like as random as they want them to like appear, but yeah, he's not a great interviewer, but everything else is funny. I think.
Sorry, go on. No, go on.
I would say I think Colbert is a far superior interviewer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also not quite as like slapsticky funny, at least in his current setup anyway. So yeah. Anyway, what do you say?
Oh no, I was gonna say I always question Jimmy Fallon's actual love for video games and skill, because he would always have like these exclusive like premieres and stuff. Like no other late night host was really doing that. I know Conan now he does the Clueless Gamer skits.
Yeah.
But Jimmy would have like Reggie Fils-Aimé to show like the new they debuted the Switch on the Tonight Show.
Yeah. I doubted him until that night, actually.
What's that?
I doubted him until that night, actually.
Well, see, but then like every time he plays, he's not very good, and I'm like, I don't think he really likes games. Maybe he used to play them, but he doesn't play any of the modern stuff, and now that's just like his shtick. Like, oh, I'll be popular with the gamers, but then everything I've heard from people that have worked with him said no, like he really loves video games. Like he carries a Switch with him everywhere. He actually plays it all the time. So
he can't be as bad as that one gaming journalist who tried to play Cuphead this week.
What was that all about?
Oh, you guys didn't see that?
No.
Oh, okay. We'll have to take some time after the podcast. But it was a guy who got early access to Cuphead to release some gameplay footage, but he's terrible at it. He's at Polygon. He spent like 15 minutes in the tutorial. Like, not even joking.
I think it's interesting. Like gamers are quick to jump on people for like just because you enjoy a medium doesn't mean you're skilled at it.
Yeah.
I'm normally in that kind of field, but how bad this person was at playing playing Cuphead, and he writes for Polygon and is a video game editorial guy. It's like, okay, like when my mom could probably do that tutorial better than he did, there's something that happen here. And when you look it up,
maybe
look it up,
drunk or something. I don't know. Who knows?
Well,
I'll
either way,
definitely look
up the video, and everybody should. So.
Nice.
All right, so let's go to this next one.
Yeah, a couple more. Dave Garcia, old buddy of mine I used to work with, and actually this question is very fitting coming from him, and I'll explain. He wants to know our favorite Goosebumps book.
So when I started thinking about this, all the classics kind of came to mind. Classics like Night of the Living Dummy and Monster Blood, stuff like that. But I couldn't help but think, just as I'm older and I'm kind of looking back at the stories and the quality that they had, maybe like I had a favorite when I was younger and I actually read them. But when I look back, the one random one I could think of, it was actually a later one when the quality tended to be a lot lower, in my opinion. But How I Learned to Fly was one that really stuck out to me. Are
You
you,
know,
are you familiar with that one?
I'm
No.
familiar with it, but I don't think I've ever read that one actually.
It is really good. It is. I don't remember I haven't read it since I was a kid, so this is all from that memory. But basically,
Oh, this is all wrong.
yep, this kid finds like a recipe that he can make like this. He like basically throwing a bunch of not random, but gross ingredients together and like drinking it or eating it, and it gives him the ability to fly, so to speak. And throughout the course of the book, he becomes kind of a celebrity because he's the only person in the world who knows how to fly, and so he's like, kind of being treated like a celebrity. But then like the class bully like gets the ability too. He like finds a book and then starts basically taking all of his fame, so to speak, because everything he does, the bully does better. Like the main character is like doing like kids' birthday parties, but then the bully starts to be in action blockbuster movies and stuff like that. And so, but the reason why it really sticks out to me is because the ending. Goosebumps books always tended to end a little bit weird, so to speak. But I really liked the way this one ended because it all came down to this, like, it became, him versus the bully. And so it kind of became a big celebrity type of thing, like who is the best flyer? And so at this point in the book, it's the very end of the book. And so they're like, okay, well, they're going to do a race. The bully and the main character are going to race up to the top of the Empire State Building or something like that and race back. And the first one who gets back is the ultimate winner, so to speak, the ultimate flying person kind of thing. And so they say, ready, set, go. And then the race starts. The bully flies off really fast, but then the main character, he jumps and he falls flat on his face. And then the dad, who's like wanting him to be a big celebrity, he's like, "Oh, what are you doing? Fly!" And he's like, "I'm trying, Dad." And he like jumps up and he hits the ground again. And so you think it's like this, holy crap! Like our main character, our hero, he lost the ability to fly, and so like everyone kind of like thinks he's a loser and kind of forgets about him, and everyone kind of focuses on the bully again. But in the very last chapter, like the epilogue, it has him like getting up like in the middle of the night, and he just goes out and he flies. He flies just for himself and he flies over the ocean and the cool breeze at night just to feel it and be happy with himself without thinking about all the fame or celebrity that comes with being a flying person. He could he faked not being able to fly publicly so he could enjoy it privately for the rest of his life. So that
doesn't even sound like a Goosebumps book.
Right?
But it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, so like I say, it was the only one that really came to my mind, like looking back on it as an adult. I'm like, oh, that was actually a really good story. So,
that's awesome. And you know what? So the funny thing is, the reason and we'll get to yours, Trent. I know I didn't say mine, but I just want to say this now. So Dave Garcia, he sold me his family was having like a big garage sale, and his mom found all his old Goosebumps books, and he knew like I love Goosebumps, so he sold me like his collection. It wasn't all of them, but it was a big amount of them. So he sold me those, so I have them. So now like I know I can order them all online, just get the whole set, but I'm having fun like actually just making the checklist, and then whenever I randomly come across them in like used bookstores and all that, I look at my list and I just add to the collection. So I just looked, and I have How I Learned to Fly. And
Nice.
You could read Goosebumps books in a sitting, like no problem. So I'm definitely going to read this one because I had no idea.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I liked it.
Good. So what about you, Trent?
So mine is called Let's Get Invisible.
Yep.
I remember that one.
I don't know if you guys read that one or not, but it's these kids find this mirror in an attic that has a light bulb above it, and when they stand in front of the mirror and pull the light, like kind of like one of those old light bulbs with the cords that come down. Mm-hmm. When you turn the light on, you turn invisible. And so at first they think it's just like an optical illusion that the mirror makes it look like they're invisible because the way the light hits them and the mirror and blah blah blah. But it turns out that they actually like can walk around and they're invisible and all this stuff. But he starts noticing some odd behavior from like his friends and his brother that are going invisible with him and doing it more often than him. And like one of his friends had this really weird kind of like haircut, and he noticed at one point that his hair had completely reversed, like you would see in a mirror reflection. And so the whole thing is that these beings are coming out of the mirror, basically. Like when you turn invisible, the longer you stay invisible, you like can end up getting trapped in the mirror, and your reflection comes out and like takes your place.
Oh,
And so
wow.
the whole thing is about like them trying to figure that out and whether they're gonna like be able to beat the reflections and like escape and everything like that. And it was pretty cool.
That was a good one. I'd forgotten about that one.
I remember just thinking like it seems so innocent and like not that scary, and then like the more you think about it, I was like, this is kind of creepy.
Because it's like, what's going on in that other world? Like, what do they do over there?
Yep.
That was an early one, too. I think that was the 6th book, I want to say. So, yeah, that was pretty early on.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Cool. Well, I have to go with Night of the Living Dummy. I still have memories of like where I was in my old house growing up, like where I was reading it. I was like lying on the floor reading it. It was the only light I had was the light from the TV, but like I wasn't even paying attention to what was on there. I was just reading it and like getting really into it. And I just remember one of the things I loved about Goosebumps books as a kid was like the visuals that I came up with were like crystal clear compared to other books that I read.
Yeah.
You know, and then they came out with the show. Like, the show came out later on after a lot of the books were already out, and I remember like watching some of those episodes and being like, "Oh, well, that's not really how I pictured it."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel like they really like nailed it.
That was one of my first experiences of like watching a book to TV show or movie adaptation and being disappointed.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Did you guys see the Goosebumps movie?
I didn't.
No, was it good?
It's very good. It's really, really good. Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Jack Black, right?
Yeah, Jack Black. He plays a very different type of R.L. Stein compared to like the actual R.L. Stein. But no, the movie, it's just a lot of fun. They did a really good job. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Like, it's not one I purposely avoided. It's just one I never got around to seeing. So
it's definitely worth seeing. It's way better than it really had any right to be. It kind of gives me that feeling, Trent, of Hocus Pocus, where they just take it and they have fun with it, and it's not dumbed down like for kids. The humor's like really well written and everything. Yeah, definitely check it out.
Man, I pulled up a list of the Goosebumps books on Wikipedia, and I'm just looking at all these titles, and I'm getting so many memories that are coming back to me right now.
I read every single one.
I think I got up to like 30 or so, maybe even a bit more, but like Stay Cheese and Die and Stay Out of the Basement and like, oh man,
Cheese and Die Again.
So good. I know, right?
It's funny because I remember like that was the big thing. Like, who would be the first one to bring the new Goosebumps book to school?
Yeah, it was a huge thing.
And they came out once a month. And props to R.L. Stein. Like, you could say like some of the writing, like the endings are bad and stuff, but the fact that he could write one of these books a month, like, is just incredible. Like, I don't even know how many books he has under his belt, but he's an absolute genius. And to actually bring horror to kids and like have fun with it and stuff, like, he's awesome. But I remember there was one kid I went to school with. It wasn't fair because his mom worked at a bookstore, so he would get all the Goosebumps books like at least a week before they came out. So then it no longer was a contest. And it was always so exciting because the book would tell you the title of the next book, but you wouldn't see the cover. Mm-hmm. And those covers are so
great.
Good. I can't talk about Goosebumps without bringing up the horror at Camp Jelly Jam. And how terrifying that cover is.
That counselor's face is just like I can just see it vividly. I haven't looked it up or seen it in years, but I can still see that cover.
And I guarantee if you look it up, it's going to be exactly how you're picturing.
Yep.
So, man. Well, good. I'm glad we all have Goosebumps memories. And the last topic is from Jacob Gross, my brother-in-law that everyone on the planet loves. He wants us to talk about Bad Moms 2 and Boo 2 on Medea Halloween. But I don't think we have time. I think the show's been running on a little too long, so I think we have to cut it off there.
I have no idea about either. So
yeah, I've never seen either of them, so I'm sorry, Jacob.
Bad Moms is basically a comedy, a raunchy comedy where it's about a bunch of moms and they're bad. They're really bad. So that's that. And they're making a sequel and it's Christmas themed. It's like Bad Moms 2, like a Bad Moms Christmas.
I can safely say that is aptly titled then.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly
my opinion of Bad Moms 2.
I guess you could say like, oh, well, they're just not good at their job, but no, they're bad. They're really bad.
Are they as bad as the Mean Girls are mean?
No, they're way more bad. Those girls were mean. These moms are bad.
Did we skip the Tim Curry topic?
Oh, well, I mentioned that earlier when we were talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I pointed that out. So, so we did not skip it.
A little early. So, all right, well, take us out, Trent.
Alrighty, well, we'd like to thank everybody who gave us a topic to talk about here at the end. We'd like to keep that a regular thing, so if you have ideas for us to talk about or the things you want us to dwell on, I thought that was really fun. Leave us a comment on Facebook, send us an email. We actually got kind of a long form Facebook message today that we're going to maybe look at and talk about next week that I'm excited about. So reach out to us, let us know what you want us to talk about, and we will see you next week.
Have a good one.
Bye.